Happy Sagittarius season. The sun entered the mutable fire sign of Sagittarius, or Sag for short, at 4:57 p.m. New York time, which was 1957 Greenwich Mean Time, on Thursday, November 22nd, 2024. A new era begins. Pluto ingress into the fixed air sign of Aquarius for the final time this cycle on Tuesday, November 19th at 4:40 p.m. New York time, which is 2040 Greenwich Mean Time. This monumental shift occurred just days following the super full moon in Taurus, which became exact on Friday, November 15th at 5:28 p.m. New York time, which is 21:48 Greenwich Mean Time. 21:28 Greenwich Mean Time. Sagittarius season. Sagittarius is a mutable fire sign that brings an energy of play, passion, and spontaneity to the zodiac. Ruled by optimistic, auspicious Jupiter, the Archer, which is a centaur, serves as a reminder that a life without spontaneity, risks, or new experiences is a boring one. Sagittarius reminds us to go after what we really want in life unapologetically and to not be afraid to take some risks on the way there. Sagittarius is a sign of optimism. Sagittarius is one of the signs of the zodiac that emphasizes freedom. The Archer prefers to roam free and untied rather than to nest in one place like Cancer, for example. One of the things to focus on over the next month is how to bring more freedom into your life. Sagittarius is the ruler of the ninth house, the house of philosophy. Aside from being a roamer and an adventurer, Sagittarius is also the great philosopher of the zodiac. During Sagittarius season, we naturally feel inclined to read books, learn new things, and engage in philosophical discussions. In general, Sagittarius is associated with emotions, adventure, travel, athletics, growth, international affairs, eccentric things, and philosophy. Pluto enters Aquarius, initiating a new era. Pluto, the outermost and most powerful planet in astrology, defines epochs. We have now officially exited the Pluto and Capricorn era, which encompassed the years of 2008 through 2024. During this period, we saw an explosive growth in the capitalistic world, with the world's gross domestic product, GDP, nearly doubling, alongside a population explosion of over 1.5 billion. Capricorn, ruled by Saturn, represents the old patriarchal hyper-capitalistic oligarchy, as it represents a top-down hierarchy. The Pluto and Capricorn era began with the Great Recession of 2008, an event which initiated an unprecedented siphoning of wealth from the lower classes to the uppers. During Pluto and Capricorn, we have seen essentially the destruction of the middle class in the West. Pluto has now entered into optimistic, collective-oriented Aquarius, where it will lie through 2044. This monumental 20-year cycle will fundamentally shift humanity as we have known it. It will be akin to the biblical fall of Babylon, as we will see all the old patriarchal capitalistic structures as we have known them crumble to make way for the early beginnings of the new earth structures that will populate, providing the infrastructure for the coming prophesied golden age. Pluto in Aquarius is a totally different type of energy. Aquarius, which is the fixed air sign, is by nature egalitarian. It could be said that Aquarius is the glue that holds the rest of the zodiac wheel together. As the 11th sign, it exemplifies the numerologically significant master number of 11, which is the ascension number, as any series of ones brings forth the ascension energies. This is why, it's great when you see 111 on a license plate or in a phone number or, on your statement or whatever. Just anytime you see 111, it's a good confirmation, or on the clock, 111, 1111. It's a good confirmation that you're in an ascending frequency. Aquarius, ruled by Uranus, the ruler of innovation, rules over technology, especially the internet and artificial intelligence. Over the next 2 decades, we will see technological evolution reach a parabolic pace. Life in the cities in the Western world will soon look very different than it does now. Think drones, emissionless driverless vehicles, hovercrafts, holographic 3D advertisements, iris reading cameras. We will likely begin the transition to cleaner fusion energy, finally. A large portion of the population will choose to get a microchip, unfortunately, embedded into their skin to take advantage of purported convenience benefits. Interacting with AI when on your computer or phone will become a normal part of everyday life, but it already is, isn't it? Artificial universes like the metaverse will be incredibly prevalent, and attract the attention of most in the more developed countries, especially the youth. Social media's endless feeds, TikTok being the worst of them, were the first iteration of this. I mentioned that Aquarius rules over the internet. Aquarius is inherently without boundaries, which is why the dark side of the Aquarian experience can be martyrhood or victimhood. And those of you that are Aquarius suns or Aquarius moons or risings, you can, I'm sure, relate to this. I have Mars in Aquarius, and I can relate to that as well. My planet of action being in Aquarius, if I'm not careful, I can, befall that dark side of Aquarius as well. If you think you have no privacy online now, which you're right, you don't. It's over. I don't care how many VPNs you use. Like, we're way past the time of anyone but like the most knowledgeable cybersecurity experts having really any true online privacy anymore. But if you think that it's bad now, just wait. It's only going to get much, much worse. And if you think censorship is bad now, wait. It's going to get much, much worse. But you can still hear me for now, which is good. And you'll always be able to find me one way or another. In one sense, rapidly emerging novel technologies will be leveling up as a planet to match with some of the technologies that are more common on other planets in our galaxy. So just as like you can see the micro macro, as I always like to bring into my teachings, on Earth there's been many developing nations that over the past especially 30 years have started to catch up technologically with the developed nations. Earth is a developing planet. During the Pluto and Aquarius age, will start to catch up with the developed planets of the Milky Way. Not all the way, but we'll start to get there. Just like the developing world is not all the way caught up technologically with the developed world, right? So life will become more convenient in the West than ever before. We'll finally move beyond fossil fuels and into all electric. And eventually hydrogen fusion, as I mentioned before, will power our grids as a segue into scalar energy powering all. And that scalar energy, I know we all wish we could just have that now, but everything is a stepping stone. And hydrogen fusion is what's next. And it's what scientists have been working on for many, many, many decades already. And recent breakthroughs, if you read the literature, point to it being probably a decade or two away, and that matches up with Pluto and Aquarius. However, many on the planet will lose their connection, unfortunately, with the natural world and their natural nature more and more, especially when those darned microchips, the mark of the beast in the Bible, come into play. Also, as the majority of the population capitulates to an AI-driven everyday life, many people lose touch with what we've known as being human, as we let the machines do so many tasks for us that we used to take for granted, like cooking our meals or doing our dishes. Sign me up, though, for the latter, because I can't do that for the life of me until it really piles up and gets bad. Robots will replace humans at many food and retail establishments. Fun. More people than ever will shift to working along with AI in both its development and application. As the world's population continues to boom, unemployment will likely hit all-time highs as robots take over formerly human jobs. Calls will become louder for some sort of universal basic income in more and more countries. Aquarius' ruler Uranus is the planet of freedom and revolution. So despite the outlook of a technologically advanced surveillance state, general rebellions will become more and more prevalent as the people at large demand access to more resources. We can see the recent elections as a confirmation of that, right? The parties that were in power all throughout the Western world were, taken out of power in recent elections. And it was, it was economics that really is what flipped these power structures. Who was in power? Because it's the most important thing, right? For the working class is access to resources, and or perceived access to resources, whichever party, whichever candidates seem to sell the best, that they'll give better access to resources, which of course is not always the case, right? But it's political theater. That's really the definition of political theater. And it's fascinating to see how those dominoes went in the Western world in the elections all since COVID, despite, the looking at the data and inflation not being nearly as bad in the U.S. and in some other Western countries as the perception was. But perception is reality, and political theater plays right into that, right? But the access to resources, right, as the hyper-capitalistic beast, that like picture this like, googly-eyed sea monster rising up, right? And it's gotten stronger and stronger and bigger and just devoured more and more. And over time, as a corollary, though, the awareness of that beast has become more and more. More you read through YouTube comments, more and more people are aware of the capitalistic monster and how it truly works. And, like, for example, Big Pharma, right? And how many people since 2020 have become aware of the monster that is Big Pharma more than ever before. So despite the kind of inevitability of things worsening in regards to surveillance and control and manipulation of information, there's this opposing force. And more people will demand access to resources, and those demands will be what creates the necessary shifts towards a more egalitarian Aquarian world. But it will happen in small dominoes at first, and I'm not even talking about the US, I'm talking about the world at large. And by the end of Pluto and Aquarius, my sense is that our economic system will be very different than it is now. It will be something that is more Aquarian in nature at its fundamental core. But in order to get there, there's going to be a whole journey, and that journey is somewhat mysterious. I can't exactly tell you how that's going to go, other than there's going to be a lot of twists and turns and calamities and protests and battles and wars, and we shall see where it goes. New modalities of art, especially art that takes advantage of technology, right? Interesting, the Aquarian, the fusion of art and technology will enter in the cultural sphere as Uranus expresses his creativity through Pluto and Aquarius. And Uranus and Pluto are both dudes, if you didn't realize, right? Every planet in astrology is female or male in nature, and Uranus and Pluto are dudes. As we progress more deeply into the Pluto and Aquarius age, we will become more cohesive as one human race. We will eventually see borders more or less dissolve, and the way that we are governed shift more to local councils that are truly democratic and not just appearing democratic in political theater. Aquarius is an air sign. Another way that we'll be looking to the air is that we likely see more novel man-made pandemics debilitating the population and potentially causing mass casualties, likely way worse than COVID was. We should also be looking to the skies over the next 20 years. I do believe that over the next 20 years, Earth will truly become a member of the galactic community. And the Syrians that I channel, back in September, early September, at my retreat at Light on the Hill in central New York, they channeled through the most amazing piece of information about something that affects the entire planet that I don't know if anyone else like in the New Age community really knows about. And it's about it being the first stepping stone for Earth actually truly entering into that galactic community. Now, on the higher self channel here, it's something that the Syrians brought up again in a recent channeling session. So what I want you to do, if you're curious, go to the pinned comment. The link to that Syrian channeling video is there, or just look back through the higher self channel videos, and it's pretty recent, the Syrian channeling, and check out that. It's a huge piece of information. It's the biggest piece of information that I ever brought through channeling or through psychic information or through any means in my entire career. It's and it may end up being like the biggest piece of information I ever bring through my career. It's that big. So go check that out. Go check that out. Starting with 2025, UFO activity is very likely to ramp up as our extraterrestrial friends continue to acclimate us in preparation for true disclosure and true first contact, meaning a widespread public meeting with ETs, which will happen. It will happen soon. But this decade, we'll see. Next decade, definitely. We will see revolutions around the planet as people band together to demand more, as I said. We'll see governments start to redistribute resources to the masses, beginning with universal basic incomes. So the fascinating dichotomy of the Pluto and Aquarius era, as I see it, is that we were both headed towards a utopia and a dystopia, all in one. Pluto and Aquarius is not the planetary age of Aquarius itself, but is the final doorway into the planetary age of Aquarius, as I believe it begins around 2043. Over the next 20 years, all the structures of control and manipulation will erode and eventually break down and transform. Pluto does this. Pluto breaks down everything so it can be rebuilt. Pluto is the force, is the, a kid, 12-year-old kid spends a whole day at the beach with his family building the most immaculate sandcastle, right? Maybe this kid was me one day. And then the ocean just kind of says, okay, that's great, kid, but I'm the ocean, and just washes it away. The ocean that comes and washes away the sandcastle, that's Pluto. That's Pluto. So Pluto's going to wash away the old sandcastles to make room to build the new ones that we truly need to take the next steps forward in our planetary evolution. And the galactic membership that comes along with that, right? And again, the first step is now in place. Please check out the Syrian channeling so you understand what I'm talking about. And please, once you watch it, tell other people, because there hasn't been a lot of noise about it. Not a lot of people have heard what I said, so go check that out. Around the time the true planetary age of Aquarius begins, Pluto will enter Pisces, bringing us several decades of a great flowering of art and culture with our ET friends by our side. And how wonderful does that sound? Supermoon in Taurus. Happy supermoon in Taurus. This super full moon at 24 degrees of Taurus became exact on Friday, November 15th at 4:28 p.m. New York time, which is 20:28 Greenwich Mean Time. Taurus is a fixed earth sign that is represented by the glyph of a bull's head. Fixed signs fall in the middle of a season and are stable, reliable, and stubborn. Earth signs rule over nature, material things, and money. Taurus is ruled by the planet Venus, which is concerned with romance, aesthetics, and all things material. Taurus is the ruler of the second house in astrology, the house of possessions. This house is concerned with money and material goods. Taurus is the ruler of the physical world, while its polar opposite, Scorpio, where the sun was on this full moon, is the ruler of the spiritual world. This powerful astronomical and astrological event is challenging us and giving us the opportunity to balance the physical and the spiritual worlds. For so many souls, the invitation now is to open up to the spiritual realm in a deeper way than ever before. For others, the challenge is to ground more fully into the physical world, and often this involves facing real-world problems. I think I'd be in the latter category. This full moon conjuncted Uranus, the planet of surprises and revolution. We can expect the unexpected over the next few weeks, and if you're listening to this now, this full moon was a little bit ago, and you may have already experienced some surprises. I certainly have myself. Uranus is in charge of both fun and not so fun surprises. With this amplified Uranus energy in the U.S., both Democrats and Republicans are feeling an intense revolutionary type energy. The Democrats trying to figure out how to regroup and be the opposing force against the Trumpian kind of arc of, now that him and his people are in power for the second time, they seem pretty hell bent on doing everything that they couldn't do in the first term, and likewise, it's a very revolutionary energy on the right to make revolutionary changes in all sectors of life. So this Uranus energy of revolution is very, very visible right now post-election. Taurus rules over the environment, and once again our attention turns to the earth and its creatures. Over the next 3 weeks, we'll feel called to connect with and look after nature. It's so important to remember that nature is our nature. Our physical body is built upon the elements of the natural world, and whether we want to think of it or not, someday it will return to the natural earth. And Scorpio rules over death, and Taurus, this full moon, and Uranus oppose Scorpio, and it's a very scorpionic thing to think about. But we are all made of earth, and someday we return to the earth. With Taurus's influence, we are interested in fashion and aesthetics now. It's a great time to focus on updating your wardrobe, art, and especially the materialistic side of it is also taking center stage. Case in point, did you guys see that a banana duct taped to a wall sold at Sotheby's auction for $6.2 million US this week? And the guy that bought it said he's going to eat it. Like, what a world we live in, right? Just as time goes on, things get more and more bizarre. And what a incredible anecdote to describe this like insane hyper-capitalistic world we live in, where you can walk outside in New York City and bump into starving, destitute, desperate people at every corner who would be happy for $1. And then you have a guy who invented a cryptocurrency, which is a currency made out of nothing and ultimately is completely worthless other than, the worth that people put into it. You could say that about money as a whole anyways, but someone who invented a digital currency, right, that is kind of a surreal, novel representation of what currency can be, but yet backed by nothing, bought a banana taped to a wall for $6 million. Like, what? What is this world? Right? This type of stuff, we're not too far away from a golden age on this planet where that's just not going to be the case. You're not going to anymore see the extreme polarity between a guy that invented a, let's be honest, fake currency and bought a banana for $6 million so he could eat it, right? Juxtaposed next to destitute, starving people. We won't see that for much longer, but I guess enjoy the show while it is. And I've got a piece of art that I'm going to be putting up for auction at Sotheby's as well. So if you are in New York and you want to go to the next Sotheby's auction, you can check out my avocado super glued to a paper plate. And the bids will be starting at 1 million for that. So you can email me if you want to be a part of that auction. With Taurus's influence, we are in. Oh, I talked about that. Taurus rules over finances and economies. The stock market and the crypto, speaking of markets, have gone insane, nearly parabolic in euphoria over the recent election results. We should expect more gains over the next week, at least on the heels of this Taurus supermoon. And let's discuss Taurus ruled money a little bit more now. Re-exploring your relationship with money and the material. Not to bring in any further unfortunate news, but I do believe we're on the verge of a major worldwide economic recession next year. I think that we've reached this stage of like complete delirious hyper-capitalistic euphoria, and it's due for a massive correction. But that massive correction, the people that know it's coming will get out at the right time, and the stupid money, as it's called, will suffer as what occurred in 2008. However, although we are potentially in difficult economic conditions, it's important to remember that the law of attraction is not by any means suspended ever. And no matter what the economic situation is, there's always people getting richer. Taurus is associated with the earthly and the material, including money, clothing, beauty, music, and sports. Money can be a taboo topic in the spiritual community, but it doesn't really need to be. Some people still are hanging on to this really old school idea that in order to be enlightened, one must let go of all material possessions, or at least be very poor. Although I have noticed that over the past 5 years, that segment of the New Age community has become very small. It's interesting that almost everyone has kind of gotten on board with, well, and maybe it was a product of just, the pandemic and a lot of people kind of having difficult economic situations around then. And just people realizing that spirituality and money are not mutually exclusive, and nor were they meant to be necessarily. This is an outdated idea left over from the age of Pisces, when the extremely dualistic economic system thrived. And of course, we're still on the tail end of that age of Pisces. But in the age of Aquarius, it's all about equality, including economic equality. It is inevitable due to the astrological and astronomical influences on this planet that the current economic system will undergo a great shift in the canyon of wealth between the rich minority, the banana-eating crypto people, and the poor majority will be transmuted into a system that supports everyone having more than enough. Money is not the root of all evil. Money is simply numbers on a computer screen, piece of paper, and pieces of metal. The evil part of the current economic system is the power structure behind it. The money itself is simply a tool to enforce and perpetuate that power structure, but it is not the root of the problem. Money is neutral. It is a tool for consciousness to interact with one another in a physical realm, and has neither a positive nor negative charge. Money is unlimited, which is clearly proven by the fact that the Federal Reserve in the U.S. prints an exorbitant amount of paper bills at will, backed by nothing. As I said before, it's not that different than crypto. And yeah, inflation happens, but can you still use those pieces of paper in your wallet and the numbers on your bank account, on your phone to buy stuff? Yeah. Money is inherently unlimited because abundance itself is inherently unlimited. What is your relationship with money? You still have the power to manifest everything you need to survive and much more by using the power of your thoughts, beliefs, words, and actions. It's crucial to examine your beliefs around money, especially if it's been a struggle for you. There's a whole spectrum in which people can fall into different categories based on the nature of their dysfunctional relationship with money. Some people are stuck in poverty consciousness and believe that money is evil, and because of the system, they'll never have enough to thrive. On the other end of the spectrum, there are people who are in reality very wealthy, and yet they are everlastingly on an obsessive, hairy chase to acquire more money based on a subconscious or even conscious fear that they still don't have enough yet to feel safe. It's a never-ending chase of a carrot on a stick. In between these two extremes, we find a middle road of a healthy relationship with money. On this middle road, money is neither a source of stress nor greed. As a light worker, your service work may be very much tied into your financial health, especially if you have a lot of second house action in your natal chart and or are a Taurus North Node. As you step more fully and committedly into your service work, whether that is tied in with your career or not, you'll energetically align yourself with the vibration of abundance. The essence of service work is giving back. You're giving back to yourself, to your family, to others, and to the world. Giving back puts you into the vibration of abundance because when you're giving back, you're affirming that you have enough to allow yourself to give back, whether it be your time, money, effort, or all three. So as you activate your service work, you'll naturally activate your maximum abundance, and you get to choose what your maximum abundance looks like. It's a good time right now to harness the energies of this supermoon and come up with a clear picture of what you'd like your maximum abundance to look like and feel like. Here are some questions that you can ask yourself and journal on if you'd like. And if you go to the pinned comment below the description box, you can check out the article version of this, which has the questions written out. How much money would I ultimately like to earn, or better word, create per year? What kind of home would I ultimately like to live in? What kind of environment would I ultimately like to live in? What kind of intimate partnerships would I ultimately like to have? What kind of circle of friends would I ultimately like to have? What kind of day-to-day lifestyle or schedule would I ultimately like to have? Which other possessions or luxuries would I ultimately like to have? What kind of fashion or style would I ultimately like to have? What kind of health and vitality would I ultimately like to have? So journal on these. And there are no right or wrong answers here. One person might desire to earn $5 million a year, own several mansions around the world, have a large group of wealthy and active friends, and work 6 days a week, 12 hours a day, maybe a few months off or weeks off per year. Another may prefer to earn 15 grand a year, live in a tiny home off-grid, grow his or her own food, have abundant free time, and have few friends and few possessions. The truth is that neither lifestyle is more or less spiritual than the other. There are no absolutes in this game. You can ascend as a solitary monk with few possessions or as a wealthy business person. It is a matter of personal choice in which type of lifestyle will be more aligned with your life plan. The soul situates your life circumstances based on what it knows would be the ideal set of conditions that will be most likely to give you the greatest opportunity to negotiate the lessons you need to move through in this lifetime in order to balance your energy field and move you into the next stage of your evolution. So if growing up in poverty is going to give you the best opportunity to move through your specific lessons, that's exactly what will happen. If growing up wealthy will give you the best opportunity to move through your specific lessons, then that will be what will happen. Neither situation is more or less spiritual than the other, and regardless of how you were raised, once you access and integrate the teachings of the law of attraction, you're able to shift into wealth if you so desire. You do have free will. Once you're here and in a body, you get to choose the life you want to live. Perhaps you intuitively feel that a life of excessive riches would be a distraction from the lessons you came here to work on. Or likewise, perhaps you feel deep down that building a life of financial wealth will help you to accomplish what you came here to accomplish. Every person is different. There are absolutely no rights or wrongs here. And anyone that tells you that a rich life is less spiritual than a poor life or vice versa is missing the point of life. Perhaps hearing these words feels freeing to you. I hope it does. You have the free will to choose what your maximum abundance looks and feels like. Here's some beliefs that I like. These can be used as affirmations to support you in having a healthy relationship with money. Money is not evil. It's just a mechanism we use to interact with one another. Money is unlimited. I deserve to have enough money in order to thrive. I do not apologize or feel guilty for having enough to thrive because money is unlimited. I can choose to give as much or as little away to others who are in need of more money. I get to decide how much money is enough for me. Money will never make me feel truly safe. I get to decide whether I'm truly safe or not. I hereby activate my 100% maximum abundance for this lifetime. I am financially free. I am worthy of wealth. And if you'd like to really dive deeply into the topic of abundance as a light worker and really release deep-seated and subconscious and ancestral beliefs that are tied to money and maybe limiting your financial opportunities, email me for a copy of my Clearing Your Inner Blocks to Activate Your Maximum Financial Abundance webinar. And also, if you are someone that is currently working on building a spiritual-based business, email me for my my masterclass really on how to be a successful spiritual entrepreneur. And my email is in the pinned comment below, but it's really easy. You are a divine human at gmail.com. Romance and fun. The North Node in fiery Aries squared Venus on this supermoon, bringing romantic relationships into focus. Now and over the next 28 days, we are having to seriously consider how romantic partnership fits into our future. Ask yourself whether your current partners are supportive of your spiritual evolution or detrimental to it. This is the most direct way to discern whether it's a good idea for you to continue walking the path with a current partner or if it's time to go in a different direction. Strife in romantic partnerships is likely at this time, especially around shared or not so shared goals and ambitions. If deep down you want things to work out with one another no matter what, then you'll find ways through the strife and different goals no matter what. But if deep down you two or one of you don't want to continue the ride together, then the stuff that comes up will serve to continue to separate you energetically. Your souls know what is happening, and the souls always know first, of course, because the souls planned it. The souls created a soul contract, and the people, trickles down, and the people themselves, eventually figure it out. But those of you that are super intuitive, you might know, right, months or years before separation, or you might know from day one that you're with someone for life, right? And there's a lot of people listening that are that intuitive. So trust your intuition as well. In general, always trust your intuition. It's one of the most crucial pieces of this ascension path. It's like one of the top 3 pieces of advice I would give anyone on the ascension path is trust your intuition. With the North Node trining Mars and Leo on the supermoon, we are given a wonderful opportunity to step into expressing the highest possibility of our personalities. You may not realize this, but the soul itself has a personality. Yes, that's right. And one of the most direct ways to describe what the ascension process actually is as a transition process from embodying the person's personality to embodying the soul's personality. As you ascend vibrationally, you are shedding layers of density that you've carried with you in your energy field through many, many lifetimes. As you shed these layers, you make room for more and more of your true essence, your soul, to shine through your vessel. You begin to more and more see through the eyes of your soul in everyday life, and it is a wonderful experience. Now and over the next few weeks, it is a wonderful time to express yourself in the most authentic ways. Make the jokes you like to make, dress the way you want to dress, and be your goofy, lovable self. This is also a tremendous portal to launch new projects, events, and businesses. Making them aesthetically pleasing to the senses, your launches or your offers, and bring attention to them in a fun way will make them successful. Wishing you all a happy Sagittarius season, a happy Pluto entering Aquarius, and a happy supermoon in Taurus. With love, this is Matthew John. Thank you so much for checking out this podcast. Whether you're a first-time listener or a long-time, I appreciate you. Please leave a comment below. I do read all the comments and really appreciate the feedback. It makes all the hard work I put into this podcast very worthwhile to read the comments. Let me know what you found most interesting. What do you think about the coming age that we're already in of Pluto and Aquarius? What do you think about ET disclosure? What do you think about Sagittarius season? How are you feeling? Are you Sagittarius sun? Let us know when your birthday is. And let us know in general, how have you been feeling during this crazy time with Pluto changing signs? How are you feeling? Let us know. And I'd like to invite you to check out my links in the pinned comment below. You can go to my website and check out everything I offer. If you're interested in learning the tarot, I have a wonderful 15-week tarot course that takes you on an incredible journey through every single card, so in-depth, more in-depth than you'll get anywhere else on the internet. And not only a journey through each and every card, all 156 if we're reading reversals, but also I'm going to teach you the fundamentals of psychism, the fundamentals of reading the tarot, the history of the tarot, how to use the tarot in spell work, how to use the tarot to determine timing, how to use the tarot to determine pretty much anything you want to figure out, how to weave your tarot reading process into cohesive readings that you can do professionally if you'd like. It's with great pride that I can say that my course has been the launching point for several professional tarot readers over the past couple of years. So if you want to learn the tarot, it's a wonderful opportunity. The course is priced really, really well. It's 15 live 3-hour plus calls. We already had class 1, but class 2 resumes on Saturday, November 30th. All the information is on my website, youaredivinehuman.org. Go to the course events and retreats page. You can register there or email me if you have any questions or you want to set up a totally free consultation to go over the details about the tarot course. My really awesome and much lauded group mentorship program, Ascending as One, that resumes in December. And December is going to be a really, really cool month, a great mix of teachings and the Syrian channeling, of course. December 8th, we have our human energy field class. I'm going to teach you all about the human energy field. December 15th, Astrology 101. So if you want to learn how to read a natal chart, if you want to figure out what the hell I'm talking about the North Node trining Mars, right? Or when I'm talking about, an ingress or any of the terms I use that you don't get, sign up for Ascending as One for December and take the Astrology 101 course. You get all the classes when you sign up. And if you do VIP, you get the December 21st Winter Solstice Group Activation plus Syrian Channeling Call. So check out that Syrian Channeling, like I said, here on the Higher Self channel, but also sign up for Ascending as One in December so you can join in live and ask the Syrians your questions. And then December 29th will be our Healing from Grief call. Really good for the holiday season for those that have recently lost someone, because I know the holidays can be very difficult, because I can relate. And I'll tell you all about my grief experiences on that call, and we'll share and we'll do some powerful healing for that. So you can also see the schedule for January and March if you wanted to sign up for more than 1 month. All of that is available on my website. Again, go to the courses, events, and retreats page, youaredivinehuman.org. You can also check out the upcoming retreats. Sedona in January, Peru in May, and Hawaii next November. All those are on sale. The Hawaii one is 33% off early bird, and that early bird special will expire on, it's a super early bird actually. That super early bird special will expire at the end of this year. Now, also, you want to make sure you're on my email list. So when you go to my website, if you're on a desktop, it'll immediately pop up and you can sign up for my email list and download the free MP3 to activate your psychic gifts and meet your spirit guide. But if you don't see that, if you're on mobile, email me, youaredivinehuman@gmail.com, and ask to be added to the list. The reason you want to be on my email list is because I have a incredible Black Friday sale coming up. It's going to be better than it's ever been. And those of you that are on my email list, you know how good the Black Friday sales have been. This one's going to be even better. So you want to be on my email list so you can take advantage of the Black Friday sale. And that Black Friday sale will begin on Black Friday and run through Cyber Monday. Anything else? If you're interested in any full-length private sessions, I have very limited availability for those next year. But if you want to get in on a session for next year, you can check out all the details of those on my website. So thank you so much, everyone. Again, please leave a comment. Also, make sure you hit that like button and make sure you hit subscribe. Make sure you subscribe to my channel, Matthew John Spiritual Teacher. The link is in the pinned comment below. I'll be dropping a brand new The Stars Align episode very soon, so I'm excited about that. And also, if you're in Cincinnati or Louisville, come see me live in person. I am here today in Cincinnati at the Sharonville Convention Center at the Body, Mind, Spirit Expo. You can come see my live presentation, Discover Your Star Origins, at 6 p.m. And it is totally free with a Saturday or weekend ticket. And if you're in Louisville, come see Discover Your Star Origins by donation. Pay what you want this Wednesday, November 27th from 7 to 9 p.m. There's a Q&A and live readings included in that. So Cincinnati, Louisville, if you're in the area, you get two chances. You can see me tonight, Saturday, or this coming Wednesday. And the details are on my website. All right, everyone, until next time, I'll talk to you on the upcoming new moon in Sagittarius. Until then, please remember to be kind to yourself, to be kind to others, to be kind to animals, and to be kind to the earth. With love, this is Matthew John.